Get ready to enter the Thrivetime Show on Talk Radio 1170. Broadcasting live from the center of the universe. It's Business School Without the BS. Featuring optometrist turned entrepreneur, Dr. Robert Zellner, with USSBA Entrepreneur of the Year, Clay Clark.
All right, Thrive Nation, welcome back to the conversation. It is the Thrivetime Show on your radio. And I am super fired up and passionate about today's topic because we're talking about 14 super moves that you can use to enhance the efficiency of your life. And so kind of the rules of engagement today. I'm going to tee up the move, and I'm going to get out of Dr. Z's way, and I'm going to let this guy pontificate about why the move works and how you can free up massive amounts of time. So here we go. The first move is you want to schedule weekly meetings, if possible, for anything that happens in your business. But one of those things would be like group interviews. And so you think about the efficiency of the move. If you're going to interview people as a group every week, Z, why not just agree one time, hey, this is the time we do it every week. It's a one. Why not just have a different time every week? Why not just every week? We'll see what happens.
Well, it's the easy button. Your staff gets involved in it. When they see people out there, they're recruiting. You're recruiting. You have one. It's not what time is it this week and what day?
Let's role play.
That's embarrassing to have someone come in for an interview and you're not doing an interview.
So let's do a role play here. Let's say that you have decided as a team that every Wednesday at 5 o'clock you'll do a group interview. So now you're at Fridays. You meet a guy like Marshall. You're trying to recruit Marshall, and Marshall says, what time is the group interview? What time is your interview? What time do you interview people? And you could always say,
every Wednesday, 5 p.m., be there, looking sharp and on time, and we'll get you in an interview.
And if you don't do that, you got to then call your assistant, call the office, call the team. Hey, when are we doing that interview?
We're doing Wednesdays at 5 now, right?
Wednesdays at 5.
So if you want to see something funny, if you have like nothing to do on a Wednesday afternoon,
it's awesome.
You show up at the Thrive headquarters about 4:55.
Yes.
At about 5:10, you're going to see some panicked kid come running to the building. It's very entertaining.
You travel a lot, and you're a guy who's pretty fastidious about being on time and being where you say you're going to be. Does it not help make you laugh when you go to the airport and you always see the sprinter? It seems like at the airport in our group interviews, you're guaranteed to see somebody pulling in there, and they're just running as fast as possible, only to discover that the TSA people will not let you through airport security super fast just because you're late.
I know. One time I was traveling somewhere, and I would just totally miss the time of the flight. I mean, and all of a sudden, my brother calls me and says, are you getting on the plane? I go, what do you mean get on the plane? It doesn't leave for another hour. He goes, dude, we're boarding right now. I mean, I flew to the airport. Shoot. If it wasn't for valet parking, I wouldn't have made it.
But you did make it.
I did make it.
That's right, he did.
That's right. Now, the next move for increasing the efficiency of your life is schedule weekly meetings for staff training. See, at your optometry clinic, you have to train people on how to sell efficiently. You have to train people on how to run people through the systems and processes. My wife, back in the day, was once your test prepper.
Yep. Yes.
Can you explain to the Thrive Nation what a test prepper is and what you do as a test prepper?
It's like the nurse in a medical office. They take all your stats, all your vitals. They ask you some history questions. They ask you, and they run you through the different pieces of equipment that they can operate, and then do some chair skills if they're trained. So in other words, they're like the nurse that sees you before the doctor sees you. So they are what we call a pre-tester, and then they load the patients, and then they also grab when the doctor's done. Then they receive the patient and get them where they need to go.
There's 3 things I remember about that time. Yeah. One is my wife looked hot in scrubs and out of scrubs.
Whoa, hey.
Those are 2 things. The second thing I remember is, I guess the third thing, is I remember that she was very prepared for the job. She said, honey, I have to blow a puff of air in someone's eye, and she's afraid of the human eye. What's that phobia called when you're afraid of the eye?
Iophobia?
Iophobia.
Iophobia.
Yes. Very specific.
It's an Apple product.
Nice. Technically speaking, it's iophobia. But I remember that my wife was so afraid of this job because her job was to kind of like dilate the pupil. But she was trained. Kylie was her boss, and Kylie is still there as a testament to your management skills. She's been there
18 years, I think.
18 years, yeah. And so, but Vanessa knew what she's going to do. Now, I get the impression that some small businesses just kind of train people on the fly, if they train them at all.
Right.
Why?
Well, a lot of people don't see the value in it, and they think that since they know the job so well, it's obvious for the person that you just hired. And that's far from the truth.
Curse of
because
knowledge.
People anymore, I mean, answering the phone skills is just how to sound good and what to say is challenging because nobody talks on the phone anymore, number one. Everybody's always texting, you know.
Step 1, get off the smartphone. Step 2, pay attention when on the phone. Well, this is good stuff. I
Emoji,
should write
smiley
this down.
face, hand clap with a star bolt. That's how people talk these days, right? With all emojis.
Hieroglyphs.
Now,
Hieroglyphs.
Marshall, Chet Holmes has a notable quotable here. Could you share the notable quotable from Chet Holmes, the best-selling author of The Ultimate Sales Machine with the Thrive Nation?
Yeah, for training, he says, the key is found in training. This is not a one-time event either. Practice plus more practice creates real habits that make the marks in creating top performers you can rely on.
I give the stage to you, my friend. Talk to me about. I know this is something you're spiritual about. You're the Tim Duncan of small business.
That's right.
You're all about fundamentals.
Okay, so working with the team down in New Orleans, Del Richter Research, okay,
Oh, yes.
I was talking to them today about this, but the committing to the ongoing training mentality is so important because now you're actually training them ahead of something wrong going on in your business. And so it's always a bad deal when you're like, oh my gosh, this is a crisis. We need to train.
I have a super move for that. If you may say to yourself, when do we do it and how can we do it and how can I work it into the schedule? Most employees get a time to go to lunch. And the super move I've learned is to do the training over lunch.
Yes.
So what you do is you bring food in, you pay for the food,
Yes.
and you do the training over their lunch break. And that's a super move you can do.
It works.
Yeah, they were going to be off the clock for the hour anyway. So now you're feeding them. So they don't have to go anywhere and get the food and do all that.
To make it more efficient, do you recommend doing the intravenous where you just give them like a little insert,
feeding
little
tube?
poke?
A
Yeah, and you
feeding
just
tube?
do a drip method so they don't even have to take time out to eat it all.
We have blenders and we just do a feeding tube.
He likes the mama bird and baby bird. That one.
Yeah.
Chuck, what was your invention you worked on for a while about blending
Oh,
meat?
the blender burger.
Yeah, why
yeah.
didn't that catch on?
I'm not done with it.
Can you explain what that was to the Thrive Nation?
Yeah, I was gonna stick a burger into a blender.
Yeah.
And then drink it like a shake.
I think I'm a
I think
prime
it's a great
candidate
idea.
for that.
I love the way it tastes. I don't know what the difference is, so we're gonna make it happen.
You really did love the way it tasted?
Well, burgers in general.
Okay.
Who doesn't love a burger?
Whoa.
And the other thing, too, what you can do is there's, in your profession, if there is some experts or a company that does business with you, that they can also offer some training. So it doesn't have to necessarily be you doing the training. That's another super move is have them come in, buy lunch, and then have an hour to train on your people.
Now, Z, you are the master of this. You're the master of efficiency. You really say no a lot. And one of the things I think every listener should do is you should ask yourself right now, what are some things on my list that are a complete waste of my time? So as an example, I don't recall the last time I've seen you mow a lawn. Are you mowing a lawn secretly when I'm not watching? Are you out there? I mean, are you doing your own laundry?
I must confess.
Are you mowing the lawn?
I must confess, at my horse ranch, every now and then on a beautiful summer day, I'll go out there and be like Forrest Gump. I've mowed that yard for nothing.
Mowed that yard.
I mowed that yard. I just was
Green side
mowing.
up.
I put on my AirPods and I just, and I put on a little music and I just mow.
Are you listening to
I
that
just mow it on
Fishing in the
down.
Dark song while you're you and me going fishing in the dark?
Down by
No,
the river.
I like your tractor. I think your tractor.
So I want you to do I want you to do this before we come back from the break. I want all the listeners during the break, ask yourself this. What are you doing on your schedule that you could outsource to somebody else? What's one thing on your to-do list where you think, you know what, I could probably pay somebody else to do that so I can focus on my core business? Stay tuned. It's the Thrivetime Show on your radio.
Attend the world's best business workshop led by America's #1 business coach for free by subscribing on iTunes and leaving us an objective review. Claim your tickets by emailing us proof that you did it and your contact information to info@thrivetimeshow.com.
All right, Thrive Nation, welcome back to the conversation. It is the Thrivetime Show on your radio and podcast download. And today we're talking about the 14 super moves that you can use to help you enhance the efficiency of your life and business. Now, see, I was thinking about it. I was thinking, a lot of our listeners make a lot of money, but I don't know any listener that can make more time except for Doc Brown. Dr. Brown, one of our faithful listeners, he's created this DeLorean meets time machine deal. It's pretty awesome.
The flux
Outside
capacitor.
of him,
Flux capacitor.
Outside of Dr. Brown, Z, I mean, rumor has it time is your most precious asset.
It is, because we all get the same amount, 24 hours a day.
24 hours a day.
Now what planet are you from, Clay?
Claytron.
Now, on that planet, the days, the week's a little longer and the days are a little longer, right?
Well, on this planet, we require 5 hours of sleep, no direct sunlight, and no hobbies outside of working.
Yeah.
That's the key. That's the key. That's the key to
secret sauce.
Knowing if somebody's from the planet of Claytron. And Claytron recently has gone undergone kind of a naming
Supernova.
Overhaul, makeover.
Yeah.
It's now called Claytron Menendez, to be more politically correct.
Oh, there we go.
That's
okay.
Claytron Menendez. That's the planet I'm from.
We want to be PC.
We do want to be PC, which is why we make an attempt to be PC once a month.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Once a month, we give her a whirl. And then we get back to what we're all about. Guns and gold, America. Here we go. We're talking about how to be more efficient. And one of the things you could do is you could make a list of all the non-revenue producing activities that you're doing and ask yourself how you can stop doing them. This is called the Pareto principle. The famous Italian engineer, economist, he says you should spend 80% of your time doing the 20% of the things on your to-do list that move the needle the most. Z, break it down.
Shouldn't you say that like an Italian accent? You should do.
You should do the 80% of the time having the breadsticks at the Olive Garden, and then
you like a meatball.
You like a meatball. So what you want to do, though, is you want to spend 80% of your time doing the 20% of the things that only you can do best, if at all possible. So a good example would be if you are a small business owner with 10 employees or more and you find yourself cleaning the bathroom all the time, maybe you should hire a janitorial service.
There you go. One of the things that we did at Dr. Robert Zellner and Associates, I would sit down with the staff and say, listen, if that doctor is doing anything but in an exam room, we've missed the mark.
Like if he's in there
because I'm paying you
doing paperwork.
Right. I'm paying you $12 an hour. And I pay him a lot more than that. And if he's out dispensing contacts or
cleaning the bathrooms,
pre-testing, cleaning the bathrooms, doing anything that anybody else can do, that gets me in the day a post-it note, little note,
a reminder,
friendly reminder.
Because you want and I've been to your optometry clinic. For the listeners who haven't been there, you walk in and you're greeted by somebody who's not a doctor. They're wearing scrubs, though, so it's kind of tricky.
It's tricky.
Then you are greeted by somebody who will then they say, Mr. Clark, Mr. Clark, and you walk and they greet you. Then you go back and the test prepper blows a puff of air.
Which used to be your wife back in the day.
Used to be my wife back in the day. And then after they do that, they take you to the next room, which is kind of where you go and actually see. Do you see a doctor at that point?
Yes. Well, they take you into that room, then they do some other testing on you that's
Can
in
you
that
see
room.
better now?
Well, they check your vision. How are you seeing 20/20, 20/30, 20/40 with and without the prescription
Can you
have
read
currently?
this?
Can you read this? Can you see this?
C, D, can you read that row?
Can you see my thumb?
Can you see my thumb?
No,
I'm going to poke you. I'm going to poke you in the eye and tell me when it hurts.
Yeah, boom. Yeah,
Can you feel this?
We stopped doing that. Allegedly people didn't like that, so I don't know why.
You did a lot of eye patches, though.
You did that with me last Tuesday. I don't know why. I thought that was part of the normal exam.
But the point is that even with not only yourself, but also your employees, you're going to have some that are higher functioning, some that maybe have specialized skills. And so you need to make sure that they are doing what it is they can do and not being caught up in the minutia that somebody else can do.
Now, we have a wonderful member of the Thrive Nation. The company's called Classic Janitorial Services. Janitorial Services. Now, if you found yourself saying, why am I cleaning the toilets? Now, here's the deal. Again, if your company has, I would say, 10 employees or more, and your company is producing some profit, it may be time to outsource the janitorial services. I mean, Z, you could be spending your time cleaning a toilet. You could be. I mean, it's a noble cause. You could make the Porcelain Palace your new headquarters for your corporate empire. Men henceforth will meet in the Porcelain Palace.
Lord knows I've cleaned toilets before, so.
You sometimes you have to. But if you find yourself as part of your daily checklist doing this and you're ready to outsource to a company that is competent and that we are confident in, go to theclassicclean.com. That's theclassicclean.com. Their phone number is 918-671-2046. Again, that number is 918-671-2046. Someone says, I'm trying to write that down with an Etch-a-Sketch. Well, you shouldn't use an Etch-a-Sketch, but if you're trying to write it down, I get it. It's theclassicclean.com. The phone number is 918-671-2046. And if you add up all those numbers, what does it equal? I don't No.
Another number.
Another number. That's so. Did you study mathematics in college?
Yeah, it's obvious, isn't it?
You actually did to get a
Mathematician.
degree, and you studied. You
Yes,
became an
actually.
optometrist, and you had a major in mathematics.
Yeah.
See, I knew you would knew that. That's amazing. That's amazing. I did that up right for you.
BS of mathematics.
Both of which are true. Okay, so now the next thing you want to do if you want to become a more efficient person is you want to schedule a date with your wife or your friends or whatever activity you're into. See, you've got to schedule time for the family and the fun. See, why do you have to schedule time for fun?
The problem is that with the F6 lifestyle that we preach, all right?
Preach.
You can't ignore any of the Fs.
Ha!
If you ignore them for too long, it will reach up and bite you where you don't want to be bit.
Ow. Chup, stop biting me there. Chup. Ow. Ow. Sorry.
Yeah.
Chup.
So,
Seriously, though, so you just
yeah, you've got to schedule time with your kids. You've got to schedule time with your significant other. You've got to schedule time with those that are in that little inner circle of you.
Can I delegate the raising of my children? Is that something that you would recommend as the king of business? Is that
Absolutely. Well, you get a nanny, you know. I mean,
okay, all right. That's a good tip. I'll write that down. Okay, but seriously, you got to schedule time for what matters to you.
correct.
Okay, Lee Cockrell, the former executive vice president of Walt Disney World Resorts, who once managed 40,000 employees, Marshall, and 1 million guests per week, he says what gets scheduled gets done. You work with a lot of business coaching clients who have very successful companies who are doing well over $1 million, $2 million, $3 million a year of revenue. And this phenomenon of what gets scheduled gets done, the profundity and the simplicity of this idea never ceases to amaze me. Can you break it down why you have to schedule what you want to get done?
Right. So what I see a lot is there's business owners that get really ambitious. They really want to knock out so many new action items, things that they're excited to implement into their business. They make a whole big old list, a pro-con list. What do I do? Do I do this or do I spend my time on that? And what they realize is at the end of the day when they're ready to implement, it's time for dinner. And then it's time to put the kids to bed. And then it's time to do family time and the other F6 goals. And they never actually get around to getting it implemented. So what you got to do is you got to look at your calendar and block off in your calendar just like any other appointment, whether it be seeing a patient, going out and cleaning a commercial building, whatever it is, you got to block it in there like seeing a client to implement action items to get things done.
And another thing you have to block into your schedule is you got to schedule weekly recurring times to look at your accounting. You know, Dave Ramsey, who could not be here today, he says a budget is telling your money where to go instead of wondering where it went. Can you, Marshall, why do we have to schedule a specific time to do our accounting?
Well, right now, somebody needs to hear this. And that person is the person that has not looked at their accounting for the past 3 months.
He's talking to you.
I don't ever really look at my accounting. To me, it's more of like I go by feel. To me, it's how about how I feel. And I feel really good about it, but my debit card got declined. But I still feel really good.
So I was talking with a business owner earlier today, and I said, what is your numbers? How close are we to breaking even this
I don't
month?
want to talk about it.
And he goes,
about it.
well, I don't get those reports till my accountant sends it to me.
I don't need to talk
And
about it.
to operate your business having no idea what your numbers are is crazy. So you need to know specifically how much money has been deposited into the bank and how much money has been spent from the bank account every single week.
I never look at my body or my numbers.
Well,
That's the key.
well, that's a
Well, Clay, good
that's a
thing I look
personal
at
choice.
both for you.
Now, it's,
Okay.
well, seriously though, was it John Mayer, Chup, your favorite artist? The guy, you have the poster above your bed of
business
John
guru.
Mayer.
Yeah,
He wrote that song, "Your Body Is a Wonderland."
exactly.
And it was an ode to Dr. Zellner.
That's true.
And
Oh,
so,
okay.
Dr. Z, when we come back, I want to hear about because how old are you right now? 53?
53.
But yet you continue to get in better shape every day. You're irritating everybody listening to the show.
It's a war on gluten.
Well, we have all these guys with gym ownerships that are now clients of ours, and so it's just kind of
So
by
what-
osmosis.
When we come back, I want to hear about how you, as a 53-year-old man, maintain a healthy body weight. What are your tips? How many push-ups can you do? How much can you bench? Talk to me about your calf striations.
I heard a joke yesterday. How many push-ups can Chuck Norris do? Do you know?
7?
All of them.
Oh, Chuck Norris. Stay tuned. More Chuck Norris jokes when we return.
It's your year to thrive. Success you will find. Today is your day, and now is your time.
This moment is profound because you're above the ground. Your road might have been rough, but what you got now is now.